So we're here at Idea 2017 with Tommy and Reyci. We just finished the movement prep workshop, and we're just going to talk about movement. So this is Tommy.
Hello.
This is Reyci.
How you doing?
Reyci, tell us a bit about yourself.
I live down in San Diego. Work as a trainer down there. Spent many years as a trainer. Work with athletes, work with general population. Love the escape tools, work with them a lot. Indoors and outdoors out there.
So what's your background?
My background?
Why are you qualified to talk about movement?
My background is I got into training late, so I spent a lot of time getting education through a lot of different major groups, so I've learned from a lot of good people. Also, I have 2 different master's degrees in education, an undergrad degree in biology, so that kind of helps give me some credentials to be able to talk about things.
Tommy?
I have none of that. So I've spent the last 14 years in the industry. Started off as a coach, working with rugby players and athletes, and then went into personal training, and then went into education. Set up my first education business back in 2004, delivering kettlebell courses and Olympic weightlifting courses, and then got together with Escape Fitness back in 2009. And since then, it's been delivering and really specialising in functional training, programming for functional training areas, group training, and the whole experience around that. So that's my background.
So what is the session this morning then? What's been, what was that about? And I guess everybody talks about movement, and there's lots of different ideas around it. But what was different about what happened this morning?
Well, I think this morning was really trying to show how you can use a tool to be able to get more out of your movement prep, or more out of your movement that you're trying to train. We talked a lot about how movement can be influenced too much by bodybuilding or physical therapy. Not in a bad way, but if you really want to have movement, bodybuilding and physical therapy don't have the best transfer to real movement that we want. So we went over that. We also taught people how you can build movement. So you come from a base skill, add global adjustments, and global adjustments with locomotion, and then really get some dynamic global movements instead of looking at a local movement. So local would be kind of a small, specific muscle basis, but rather look at the entire basis of the entire body, how it interacts with the whole, and then from there we can start replicating movements and get real transfer to what people are doing in their activities in their daily lives.
And there's a lot of different ideas around movement. What would you say then, Tommy, to would this apply to people that are doing strength training? Like in the workshop this morning, there was people who clearly do some sort of CrossFit. Would this be something that would be relevant for them, or would they still focus on traditional foam rolling?
Well, first of all, I think what's nice about the CMT for movement prep is that you get your hands on something which, from a really basic level, it just makes preparing for workouts or preparing for exercises a little bit more interesting for those people that would normally look at movement prep as being, I don't want to swing my arms around and circle my hips and swing my legs forwards and backwards. So the basic bodyweight mobility drills, which are really effective and really key in movement prep, for a lot of people they just find it boring, so they just don't want to do it. In this situation, when you're doing something in the CMT, it becomes very effective in a very short period of time. You get a lot out of it. From a neuromuscular standpoint, you fire up the whole kinetic chain and you increase your range of motion. So then going into all the specific things which Reyci talked about in the session, whether it's for strength training, Olympic weightlifting, sport-specific movements, whether it's game-based stuff like a footballer or a soccer player, it really is applicable to all those different areas. It's just being able to have the knowledge that the movement you're about to do in your workout, whether that be an overhead squat or a front lunge, what are the joints which are being put into movement, what are the joints which are being loaded and stressed, and then looking at that and sticking the CMT into it and trying to improve the range of motion in that joint. So if you can take that element or take that aspect of it and put it into the workout, into the movement, then you get a lot more.
So how would that fit into something like foam rolling? Would that be together with it, or would that be separate?
Yeah, so foam rolling is an interesting concept, and at the moment it's currently kind of something which is open for discussion as to how effective it is. There is a bit of science out there now which kind of says that it's not that effective for movement preparation. From my personal perspective and standpoint, I see that when I use it with my clients, it works very, very well. So if you put that together, if you were potentially going to release tension in an area, SMR, self-manufactured release, releases tension in an area, so it's a great thing for releasing tension. Release that tension, potentially improve the range of motion around that joint, put the CMT into it after the SMR, and you've got quite a nice little partnership there.
And so, people would sort of say that, Escape being an equipment company, trying to get people to use a new tool for the sake of it. How would you explain? Is that tool essential? Can you do some of this stuff without using something like the CMT, or what's your position on that?
I think we talked about it in the session that in theory, you could do something with the CMT. When we were talking about our shoulder range exercise with the CMT, you could take a medicine ball and tap that medicine ball up there, but it's not going to be as effective as what the CMT is. There are certain movements that the CMT is very unique. It has a unique structure, it has a unique build, it has a unique science behind it, that lets us be able to do movements that are specific to what we want to do and specific to that tool. There are other tools, and the other tools are great at doing different movements, but the ones that we wanted to get focused on, the ones that we were talking about for movement prep and athleticism and building that, the CMT helps us be able to strike at end range and be able to get that end range eccentric loading that we want. It's be able to move the spine in 6 different ways that we want to be able to do, all 6 different ways that it moves, which is flexion, extension, lateral flexion, rotation, type 1 and type 2 movements, and be able to hit those muscles at end range, which other tools can't do. So there is some, it is our own unique tool, but there is some specific proprietary things that are, not proprietary, but specific unique things that the CMT lets us do that other tools don't.
Right. All right. Well, it looks like the security guard's trying to. We've got someone here who's trying to get rid of us. So it's all right. Well, thanks, guys. Keep watching us on Facebook. Till next time.
We won't get interrupted.
Thank you.